Regular meeting of the City Council of the City of Kershaw, Texas, being held today, Tuesday, July 14th, 2026, at 6 p.m. Here at the Kershaw City Hall, 214 South Ash Street, Kershaw, Texas, is now being called to order. A roll call. We're starting over there in the corner there with Ms. Sonia Hernandez, Mr. Ryan Lucio, Aurora, Garza.
Here.
There's it. Go here with Rachel Gassa.
Here.
There you go. We're coming in with Miranda Gutierrez and birthday boy, Mr. Ram.
Thank you.
And for the record, James Judd, up there right now. James, he is present. Okay, at this time, let's go ahead and stand up for the invocation. If Dr. Marshall would lead us in the invocation, please, sir. Appreciate it.
Heavenly Father, we thank you, Father, for the opportunity to be here, Lord, to do the business of the city. We thank you for the leaders that we have here. Give them wisdom, Lord, give them discernment, help them to guide us in our business tonight. Thank you, Lord, for all the people here in the audience today that are here to help and to voice their concern. Bless us, give us more rain, Lord, when you feel it your will. In Jesus' name, amen.
Thank you, Doctor. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic, one nation, God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Moving on to citizens to be heard. Yes, do we have anybody citizens?
No, Mayor.
No citizens to be heard. Okay, moving on to item number 5, mayor's message. Few items that I like to talk a little bit about. Of course, one main one that we had was our Little League District 21 hosted the tournament that we had, which was an awesome event. I mean, it was a great event. Heard nothing but good things from all people that came in. You know, I know a lot of the people from these towns were there and nothing but praise, nothing but good job. You know, and that says how much hard work you people from District 1, from here, from the Little League Board, and staff, our staff, our city staff put in there. There's more to talk about that in a little bit, so I thought I need to recognize that. Thank you. And next, talk a little bit about the couple of the teams that went on a little bit far into the section. One of them went into the state. You know, there's nothing that sports events that bring people together. You know what? This community came together for those two purposes. We had the girls that went into the sectional to the championship game. Unfortunately, but they were there. You know, and that says a lot. And then we had the boys big league also. These are 15, 16-year-olds, right? Am I correct in the league work? 15, 16? Yeah, both of them. And they had a great being the district champs and then the sectional champs and then earning a spot for the state tournament, which is, to me, it's something that hasn't been done before here in Christmas. As long as I live here, as long as I've been around the baseball, the little leagues and all that, I hadn't heard about that going that far. So we see them out there. Let's congratulate them. Let's you know, they really did something special for the city of Kershaw, and they really brought it together. Yeah, we leave out there by the car wash on that day before, a couple days before it took off. And man, talking about the community coming together, that was really something. It really, really meant a lot to the city of Kershaw coming together. I mean, from players to the community people, to the police department, to the county, everybody joining in, county sheriff's office joining in and being part of that. You know, we had them out there monitoring the kids out there as they were trying to raise funds. That was beautiful. That was the beauty of it all for them to come together, everybody showing up and coming together and united as one team. Kershaw Maverick team. And that's what it's about. That said a lot. Another thing I want to recognize is the public library events. I've been to a few other events that they have out there. There's something else, you know, I think we're named Sarah, the one that runs libraries, Sarah.
Yes.
Sarah does a tremendous job on putting events together. and her staff, of course. I mean, it's like anything, you can only do as much as your staff backs you up. I mean, being a coach, I only can do as much as my assistant coaches would put in their time to help me out. So that means a lot. And fun, the kids out there with smiles, getting effort from the foam party that they had at the beginning to Mr. Blue Shoes that showed up not too long ago. I mean, nothing but great stuff for the kids, you know, it was awesome. It's been awesome. Finally, couple more things. 4th of July. What do you think, Sonia? What do you think about 4th of July? It was pretty darn good, right? It was good. I mean, it was a great presentation. You people that are out there, what did y'all think about the fireworks? It was awesome. Great job, both to Juanita and her staff. And, you know, half a lot of city staff that helped out. Even the ones that caught a little firework here and there, you know, it was awesome. The whole event was truly a great event, you know, from the music to the vendors to the fireworks. Nothing but praise. I mean, nothing but good. I took it upon myself to go around the public there and just ask them how they felt about this. And man, I didn't hear a negative thing, you know, about it. You know, usually when city officials talk to people, there's always got to be something negative out there, or, you know, I was called concern, right? But it was nothing but positive. So that says a lot right there. Great event. Juanita, thank you for that one. And finally, let me see, I have one more. Oh, yes, I did get invited. I would see the kids for the ones that were here on that, what was it, the drum and bugle and drum corps. They were, I've seen a lot of, I like to eat a lot of those combined. On Sundays, they would flood that place. I mean, they were there. And I got to meet a bunch of them, talk to a bunch of them, and they all made it a point to say, Merrick, you better come see our performance. And I said, I'll be there. And you know what? I was there. And I was impressed. I mean, that sound was pretty darn good. Not only that, seeing the stands packed with out of town people, because majority of the people who were there were the parents of these kids that were performing. And they had a lot of kids, a lot of parents. I got to talk to a lot of parents and thanking us for the facilities there, the way it was there at the football field and all that. So it really was another big plus for our community. Thank you on that. And let me see, with that, I think I'm done through with the messages from the mayors. We'll go to item 6, public hearing. Open item A, open public hearing. 6B, on the request for land use vacancy special use conditions from the setback requirements of chapter 48 zoning ordinance of the city of Pearsall to allow for the placement of an 18 by 76 manufactured home at the property located at 221 North Peach and R1 single and 2 family dwelling, legally described as Lot 4, Block Q of the city of Pearsall, Carroll County, Texas. Oh, time on the open meeting?
I have it down.
Put it out, thank you, man. Thank you for that. Do we got anything on that?
This is a time for public comment, so anybody that has any questions or concerns regarding that development, that variance, go ahead and step forth and bring your comments forward.
Anybody? Okay, goes leads us to item 6C, close public hearing. Exactly what, 609?
Yes.
609. Moving on. Item 7A, introduction and swearing in of the chief of police. This is Fred.
Well, the chief is over there. There he is. Really quick, wanted to do some things, introduce. We're gonna do a quick bio and then we're gonna do the swearing in, but I'll let Raquel read the bio and then let the chief say a couple words and we'll do the swearing in. Thank you.
Sounds good.
Reynaldo Trevino, please. The city of Pearsall is proud to announce the appointment of Reynaldo Trevino as its new chief of police, bringing 34 years of dedicated law enforcement experience to the role. A product of Pearsall himself, having been raised in the community for most of his life. Chief Trevino began his law enforcement career in 1992 at the Laredo Junior College Police Academy. Since then, he has built a distinguished and varied career across South Texas, serving with the Pearsall Police Department, the Frio County Sheriff's Office, and the Uvalde County Community College Police Department. He also served 2 tenures with Pearsall Police Department and returned to the Frio County Sheriff's Office, deepening his ties to the community and he now leads. Most recently, Chief Trevino spent approximately 10 years with Frio County Attorney's Office as an investigator, where he worked under Joseph Sinden, sharpening his skills in criminal investigations and case preparation. Chief Trevino's decades of experience across patrol, investigations, and community-based law enforcement give him a deep understanding of the challenges and the needs facing Pearson. As Chief of Police, he is committed to serving the community. He calls home with integrity, dedication, and continued focus on public safety.
Thank you. Mayor and Council, again, I'd like to make the introduction. To that end, as most of y'all know who he is. I'm sure all of y'all know who Ray has been in the city, the community a long time. I want to thank him and everybody else, all of our law enforcement for their service, including our Pearsall Police Department. I believe that Ray will be a benefit to the city, to the police department. I'm looking forward to working with him. I hope the council agrees that he's going to be able to help the organization, but I truly believe we have a good department and he's going to make it that much better. With that said, I would like to, Ray, if you want to say a couple of words and then we can do the swearing. Yes.
Just real quick, I'm a simple man. I don't have much to say. I just want to say, Mayor, members of the council, family, friends, and colleagues, thank you for the opportunity to stand before you as a newly appointed Chief of Police for the city of Pearsall. It's an honor and a responsibility I take seriously. Mayor and council, thank you for your trust. I look forward to working with you to keep Pearsall safe and build this department that this community can be proud of. And to my family and friends, thank you for your support. I wouldn't be here without you. I am grateful for this opportunity and I look forward to serving as your Chief of Police. Thank you.
I'll block you from the view. Yeah.
Okay. In the name and by the authority of the state of Texas, I, Reynaldo Trevino, do solemnly swear that I will faithfully execute the duties of the office of the city of Pearsall, Chief of Police, the state of Texas, and will, to the best of my ability, preserve, protect, and defend the Constitution and laws of the United States and of this state, so help me God. Again, thank you.
Do you have any council, Mayor, any word on that?
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Welcome. We have the city of Pearsall, city council, staff, administration, welcome you. That's you, Chief.
Thank you.
Congratulations.
Appreciate it.
You got it. Hey, moving on. Agenda item 7B, presentation regarding host report for Little League All-Star Tournament, which took place June the 13th through June the 23rd. Crystal, welcome, Director. What do you have for us?
A lot of information.
Right.
Being
All
here
good.
at council and everybody present.
It's all good.
Yes, what we would like to do is go ahead and recognize individuals that made it possible for this event to take place. That's going to include everyone on our public works staff, water, wastewater, streets. We had everybody out there, including, of course, our Parks and Rec department. Do you guys want to go ahead and stand up? Go ahead and come forward.
Go. Come on, I'll be back.
I'd also like to give props to Miss Barbie and Yomi, because they were the ones pushing POs, making work orders. They also need to be recognized as well for their participation. You're gonna be here, man. You're gonna be recognized. Hector? Hector. Again, these individuals did make it possible for us to have this event, to host it. I believe if not the first time ever, first time in a very long time, but I believe it was the first time ever that we've ever put in a bid.
The other thing is just before they're here,
Yes.
again, we don't forget, I don't know.
No, we're pulling them up.
We're building things up.
Yes. Also, I'd like to bring forward, our Little League staff as well. If we can go ahead and have that board as well come up. Stephen, the president, if you want to go ahead and come up and say a couple of words as well.
Welcome them too. All right. The Little League did play a big part, of course. They are on the administrative side. They've had a bunch of volunteers running in and out of there. I saw Aaron and his wife going back and forth. Aaron is also an umpire. Saw Ms. Novella going back and forth. Everybody was all over the place. Miss Juanita Rendon. Stephen, of course, up there making phone calls, making text messages, and it was just a crazy fun-filled 11 days. But it was well worth it. We did see a lot of children out there having fun. As you do see up here, we had a total, I believe it was 78 teams. 73 come out and enjoy our complex. Like Mayor said, we did have a lot of positive remarks, a lot of recognition. But yes, this was quite the event, fun, and we do hope to go ahead and host it in the future, sometime in the near future. Stephen, did you want to go ahead and say anything?
Say something.
No, just thank you to all of y'all. Thank you to the city council. I know we y'all sponsored some of the stuff for our hospitality rooms. Mr. Reyes, Ms. Crystal, thank y'all. Thank you, everybody. 123 games in 10 days is a lot of time.
Yes.
I mean, the weekends was 6 a.m., 5 a.m. in the morning. We weren't leaving there till 1:30, 2 o'clock in the morning. I know y'all got tired of us. I know y'all were probably upset with us some days trying to get this tournament going, but you know, we put it on for the whole district, and you know, they were pushing us and we had to turn around and kind of push y'all. You know, it's not, we weren't doing it to be mean or anything like that. We're just trying to get this tournament in, and it paid off. We had 3 teams make it to a championship. 2 of them made it to sectionals. Both of them, you know, made it. Unfortunately, one didn't make it past sectionals, but the senior boys made it all the way to state, 3rd place in state. That's never been done here.
Mhm.
You know, we couldn't do it, you know, without the help of actually the whole town, all of Pearsall, donations and everything. So a big thank you to everybody, the whole community, everybody that had even the smallest part in this. It was eventful. It was, you know, a memory for all these kids. And that's what's the best part of it, is these kids got to play, got to have a season, went from not having a season to getting the All-Star bid, and, you know, taking it all the way to state, getting 3rd in state. And that's a big turnaround from how this whole season began before we even got voted in on the board. So again, thank you to everybody, and we honestly couldn't do it without y'all.
Thank you. Appreciate it. Thank y'all.
Take a picture.
You want to get with one? Council, if we can have y'all stand up, please, so you can be in the picture.
You should be in the picture.
Oh, there's a-
You were out there, girl. You were out there.
Dirty from state.
Get out. That me up here too.
Yes. Grace needs to be up there. So do you.
Yeah, both of y'all need to be in camera shy.
Shower out there.
Yeah.
Mr. Reyes.
Okay, ready? 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Awesome, thank you.
Yeah. You ready for next year? Ready. Great.
What you all have attached in your packet is going to be straight from what the president, Stephen Rizzo, received from the district board, their requests and their needs in order to host this event. These are just some of the tasks that city employees had to do. And I do want to give props to a couple of our board members, Aaron, Stephen, and a couple of other guys that were out there the day before helping put up the netting as well. They put on their work boots, their work pants, and they got out there and they helped our city workers as well. Also, in addition to that, we do have just a quick overview of some expenditures that the city invested into the facility itself. Now, of course, some of these already needed to be updated. So we just had a couple of extra expenditures, but as of right there, that's what we have total, $26,119.17. But again, some of those expenditures are things that needed to be updated, such as our fencing, screening, things of that nature. Our netting, it needed to be changed out. It hadn't been changed out in quite some time. So just some quick upgrades right there. And then also, Miss
Crystal, sorry, did that come out of the hotel also?
no, ma'am.
No.
No, general. Those are general fund monies. Also, Miss Elizabeth went ahead and pulled some data from Placer AI. I'm gonna go ahead and turn it over to her. And then I'll come back in the tail end.
Okay. So part of my responsibilities is controlling this application with Placer AI, which is a tool that uses mostly anonymous mobile phone location data to estimate how many people visit a location, and it shows where visitors came from, how long they stayed, and where they went before and after the visit. So this one I was specifically focusing on the Victor Trevino Sports Complex for the dates of June 13th through the 23rd. So yes, the purpose of the analysis is to measure the total number of visits to the Victor Trevino Sports Complex during the Little League District 21 tournament, and to analyze visitor movement by identifying the most common locations visited before arriving to the complex and after leaving the complex. So,
A little hard to see, but.
yes. So for visitors, with this data, the visits was 14.1 thousand and the visitors was 6.5K. So I basically put the difference. The visitors is an individual unique number. So basically it's that one person visiting that whole entire week. That's what it's capturing, specifically under visitors, and the visits is just the estimated number of visits to the whole entire property.
Remember, just how much we were during that time?
So the visitors is not capturing, is basically the one that we're looking at.
Yeah.
Okay. And then I also provided the visit trend during the tournament, the 13th through the 23rd. So of course, June 13th was our grand opening day. We had our highest numbers. We had 3,400 people come in and visit the sports complex. And then by the end of the 23rd, which was the finale, the grand champions, that was 911 people that visited the complex. And then of course we had our rain out days too. So that's when everyone was traveling everywhere, going different places, different cities. So then I was able to pull the zip codes that visited here in Pearsall, specifically at the complex. So of course the highest zip code was Pearsall with 2.6 thousand people that it captured. And then I highlighted the top 10. So we had Divine, Uvalde, Hondo, Natalia, Pleasanton, Boutique, Lionel, Jernigan, and Dilly as our top people who were coming to the sports complex.
Very good.
And then the top 10 places visited before going to the complex was HEB, Starbucks, had to get their morning coffee, of course. Walmart, getting all the goodies, the Gatorade, snacks, everything. QT, Petro, McDonald's, Shell, Valero, Whataburger, and Lidl, and then also Chevron. And then the places visited after, when everyone was nice and hungry, and then also I just did so much playing time. They visited Garcia's. Garcia's was really good. at bringing people in, and then also marketing as well. So a lot of people went to Garcia's and then McDonald's. Yeah, our fast food restaurants were getting hit up a lot during this tournament. I also saw Golden Chick was running out of some food as well.
So number three, that's our Dairy Queen, right? Or is it-
Oh, QT. Sorry, I didn't update that one. It was QT.
Oh, it's QT.
Divine.
Clearly don't.
So yes, and do you have any questions specifically regarding these data? I'm also still messing with the application, so I'm seeing as well how much more data I can pull, looking for specifics.
And part of that, what you'll see is that what she's showing you there is the actual data that we show as far as the visits before and after. Before and after they go to the event. So.
Oh, sorry. So it actually was very clean, so it was that on my part that I didn't update it.
So you'll see the top 10, both ways. So.
And then we did a conversion on the tail end with the information extracted from Placer Eye. So these are actual numbers right here. So the 2% converts into 130 people. Starbucks received 110 and a half. I don't know who the half was. So these are really good. And I read it out, Lytle, because whatever, because that's like.
Yeah,
But
it'll be ours next time.
yeah, it'll be ours next time, definitely, and there'll be a lot higher numbers than that, definitely, for sure.
Benefit for the community, right?
Yeah.
That's what I was gonna ask, Mr. Reyes, so what did you attribute all this, what did all this bring to us?
Yeah, I think from what I gathered, what I understand, there's definitely more traffic, right? So we saw that in the numbers. And all we're trying to do, even with events, we've done it with Hispanic Heritage. This isn't the first event. We did it with Hispanic Heritage. We were able to see the traffic flow. And then what our interest is, of course, is not just in the traffic there, but, you know, again, what do these people do before and after? They come to Pearsall to an event. And so I heard a couple of responses from business owners that they were busy. So it did bring in some much needed business, from what I understand, from the retail businesses, particularly the restaurants. So it's a good thing. And so from our end, we know there's an investment. We recognize that from the city standpoint. With that, you know, we're just asking again for partnerships with groups like this to make sure that we all, you know, we're all trying to, you know, benefit from it. And all at the end of the day, the community and the business. Yes, sir.
Did the Little League profit from the stand, or did the district have the business stand?
No, Little League had it. We spent almost 23,000 just to pay umpires alone for the tournament. We're averaging 1,500 a day for umpires, just for them to come call balls and strikes now. But concession stand made money, but we ended up losing a lot, putting it right back in from selling out of everything. So we pretty much broke even. I think we may have made 1,000, 2,000 after paying out everything we needed to everybody. So
Was there any benefit to y'all on hosting this here in Pearsall, or?
it showed that we're able to host All-Stars. We're able to do this again if we want to, put in another bid. It showed district, hey, we, you know, Pearsall can hang with y'all and all this stuff, so.
But does it help y'all's program as far as next year's enrollment, making sure that y'all are better equipped for equipment or anything else of that nature?
Yes, yeah, it helps. We said that a lot of the community got involved, that honestly, a lot of that was missing. And people that we had never seen showed up to participate, help out, volunteer and all that. So it kind of brought attention to the Little League to show it's in good hands right now. We're doing good with it. We're pushing in a positive direction, trying to get away from all the negativity from the past and all that. So hosting this All-Star event helped us move in that direction.
Y'all were charging cars to go in as well, right? Like people that going in at permission fee?
Yes, it was $5 a card, but that was to offset umpire fees. Like I said, Little League's not really the
Cause you
little.
just asked about the concession stand, but y'all had that as well.
Yes, really the little bit that we did make gets dumped right back into the league since we're nonprofit, so.
Yeah,
If you want to look at it that way, we need to make.
those bank accounts should have gone up with this event, right? I just wanna make sure.
It
they
went,
benefit.
it went like this and it went right back down at the end, so. Because after that, what Little League does is our teams that advance and after district and all that, we help them. So we'll donate towards that team. Both our senior teams got donations from us on top of what the city donated, the community.
Right.
To help offset all the costs for all these tournaments. Like they went to, what is it, San Angelo for sectionals. They won theirs, turned around and went right back to Abilene the next week. So it hurt these parents, honestly, with the money they had to fork out. So really, whatever we profited from the district tournament, we turned around and gave it right back to the teams to help them get to where they needed to go. Some of these kids weren't going to go because they didn't have the funds for it. And I'm one of those, I'm not going to let this, this kid miss out on something like that. So we sent all that money right back to those kids to be able to let them experience it.
I mean, I guess the main part is make sure that they didn't put you on a further deficit versus, if y'all lost money, then the bridges are posted if you're losing money. versus-
Yeah, no, we didn't lose anything. Like I said, we didn't go into the deficit, it didn't leave us in a bind or in the negative or anything like that. So it helped us really good.
Yeah, and what it's gonna do to them, actually, with this type of event that was here in this town, the sponsors are gonna be a lot easier next year. It's gonna be a lot easier. Sponsors are gonna come out, they're gonna help out, because they see the effect it had on this type of ball, this type of event had on the whole community. So they'll be more freely to dish out that money a little bit better. So it all has a trickle effect, down, from making money in town, to gas stations, like they said, Walmart and all that, so. But overall, I think, and I'm with you, man, I'm cars are expensive, man. Wow, boy, they're expensive.
I have another question. Steven, I know that y'all do, when y'all do like the opening Little League, y'all sell those barbecue plates or whatever, I don't know. Can y'all do, I'm just saying, so it can contribute as well, I'm speaking for myself. Like maybe raffle tickets to where y'all can start getting a little bit more money to where, I'm just saying like for the kids that are unfortunate and can't pay their way, maybe y'all can have a fund set aside to try to help some of those unfortunate kids. By having raffle tickets throughout the year, like raffles throughout the year, I mean, I'm willing to even help.
We're allowed to host, we're allowed to do a specific amount of fundraisers per season. Really, it's just one that Little League itself, Pearsall Little League is allowed to do. So we did do a raffle this year. Last year was a plate sale, right? Last year was a plate sale. This year we did the raffle and it brought in a good amount of money, but that helped offset the cost of jerseys, equipment. We had to order, I think, almost $9,000 in equipment this year to replace old equipment. Equipment never got turned in, taken, whatever it may be.
Y'all can only have one. Can anybody else have it?
Yes, it just can't be Pearsall Little League.
Okay.
So say,
The school as well. I know when I was like down we only were able to have two fundraisers, but parents could do whatever they.
yeah, and of course donations are always welcome. Like say the city's like, hey, we're gonna donate towards this. That's always welcome too. We had a lot of that for the All-Star tournaments. We had people just donate monetary donations, and of course we put the word out. Thank you to all the sponsors. We had a lot of people donate for the teams to go to San Angelo and Abilene and McAllister Park. So and we just,
I have a
what's
question.
up? Yes, ma'am.
Why weren't we able to take the 26,000 out of hotel motel since it was like that?
I've got a perfect answer for you. After this, if it's okay, I will address it. Yeah.
One more question for Steven. Steven, how many kids did we cater to this year from Pearsall? What's the amount? I just offhand, muscle man, what's the amount of kids?
430, 440 kids. 430, 440. And honestly, we had probably about, at the end, almost 5,000 unpaid balances. We didn't turn kids away. And we're the only league around here that doesn't turn a kid away. Yeah. Every other league around here, you have to pay before the season starts in order to have your spot. And we don't do it. We still let them play. We're not going to let them. I mean,
Absolutely.
We're not gonna turn kids away for that, so. And we still,
Those kids are good.
yeah, we still pay out their uniforms, caps, charter fees, because we have to pay charter fees to district, and insurance per kid. It's about $65 per kid to cover for the whole season, so. It's a lot of money.
But overall, great job, guys. I mean, the community loved it. And, hey, I did a great job.
Thank you.
Appreciate those ACs. I'm just saying.
Were you gonna talk right now or do it on that issue? Which, sorry.
Goodbye.
All right.
I'm sorry, I'm new to like Little League. I mean, I don't have any children, so I don't know. Who's the president? Who's the vice president? I mean, I want to know.
I'm president.
Yeah, you know.
My VP was Rogelio Caro Jr. Secretary is Alisa. Umpire, my main umpire is right here, Darren. The assistant manager is Tara. Miss Movella's fundraising. Miss Valerie over here is communications. Not here, my mom was player agent this year. Who is? Oh, Esther is safety, Esther Leal is safety officer, Celissa Sandoval is treasurer. And some of these spots will be different next year, not everybody's coming back next year, so.
Better refer to her as Mr. Miller.
This is.
Okay, we're ready to move on, right? All right, thank you, guys. Moving on to item 7C, presentation of water reuse, conceptual design, and estimate of probable costs.
Mayor and Council, earlier this year,
Right?
the council approved the task order for CDM Smith. We have two people on the call, Andrea Tom, and we also have, I believe, Ms. Watkins, Rebecca on the call. We've provided information to them. And so what this is a water reuse project that we're looking at. This was paid through TERS funding. And so the fund is, so what they're going to present to you is their findings. What we're looking at, we did ask them to provide us at least a couple of scenarios as to what we can do with water. Now water reuse, for those of y'all, again, some of this is new, it's treated water that comes out of the wastewater treatment plant. That's what it is. So therefore, again, the presentation, please ask questions. And so part of this, what we're looking at is the use of water, this water for the complex primarily, but there's also other proposed uses that we have, we want to propose. And so this wouldn't just be for the fields, it would be for the fields and practice fields and other fields associated. Land that has primarily been pretty, how can I put this, been neglected, if you will, out of the complex. I think some of the people that are out here know some of the practice fields and conditions that some of these fields are in. So part of what we're talking about tonight is the use of treated water. So I'll introduce, I don't know who's going to speak first, but there's a lot.
That'll be me, Fred. Thank
There's
you.
a lot of people who know a lot about wastewater, so I'm going to let them talk about it.
Sure, and I'll try to cover it quickly since I see a long agenda today. So, my name is Andrea. I work for CDM Smith, and I'll be sharing just a little bit summary of what we found and what's available and what the costs are estimated to be. So first, I want to start with looking at the data for the existing wastewater plant. I want to say this is a very good wastewater plant. They treat the water very well. But the state of Texas, in order to reuse the treated wastewater, instead of just sending it down the river, but if you want to use it for something else before you send it down the river, it does require kind of above and beyond the good water that they're sending out right now. So the Texas has kind of two types of reuse. What you see here is called type 1 and type 2. And basically what that means is that they have to meet certain quality standards in order to use that water for a list of things. So the normal water that comes out of the wastewater is just sent out to the river. And then the next tier up is type 2, and that can be used for dust control, and it can be used for irrigation of areas that don't have human contact while it's being irrigated and things like that. So that's kind of the next tier up, which is what you see called type 2. And then the best tier is called type 1. So that's like the most stringent water. And above that would be drinking water, right? So a little bit under drinking water. And that you can use for irrigating something like a sports complex, and for irrigating crops and things like that. So what we looked at is in the last, since 2023, the city was able to share some quality data about the water that they're already treating. And you can see here, green means they already meet that requirement. So they're not just meeting their normal permit out of the water, but with their existing treatment, they're already meeting the type 2 requirement, which is kind of that next tier up. And you can see that they're really, really close to being able to meet the top tier as well, but not quite. So that might require some modifications to the wastewater in order to get to that top tier type 1 to be able to irrigate sport complexes and to be able to use it for filling recreational areas and things like that. Yeah, I'll pause there if you want to say anything else.
On type 1, so basically type 1 would be anything that, like people would come in contact with. That'd be maybe something that you, okay.
Exactly. Yep. That's the main differentiator. Yep.
And all that, with people, the public could probably around and all that. Gotcha, you gotta meet that criteria, for the public can be around.
Exactly. And they're very close to meeting that. Yeah. So our recommendation in order to be able to put this water to a higher use is we propose, since they're already meeting the type 2 water, they can start using this water right away for those uses that don't have direct contact that are allowed by the state of Texas. And so what we're calling it is a phase 1, just because we can do it sooner without any other upgrades to the wastewater plant. And we can propose putting in a pump station at the end of the treatment process, so that they can actually pump water instead of it going down the river. They can actually pump water through a pipeline that we would install to a couple of places on site. And I'll share that image here in the next slides. But essentially, you would put in a 6-inch line, and we're identifying 2 different locations on the outskirts of the plant so that you can connect a truck and fill water and use it for dust control, or take it somewhere else off the plant without having to run a big pipeline somewhere else. And then as well as putting in a buried line that the city can connect to in the future if they want to use this water, and that pump would still be able to provide some head. And then obviously some other costs included would be, electrical modifications or for the pumps to make sure they have power. And then some required signage that has to say, non-potable water and things like that that are requirements of the state if we're to have these connection points. And then the next phase, once we are able to hit that slightly better water quality of type 1, then what we could do is we could put in a steel storage tank that holds 500,000 gallons. That's that 0.5 million gallons. And that would be storage so that you could send water to this tank. And from there, since we don't know exactly where it needs to go, from there, the the complex or whoever wants that water would be able to pull irrigation water for the sports complex or for other uses that require that type 1 quality. And so in that second phase, and that's the cost you'll see, we are including a couple of upgrades to the wastewater plant itself. So you can see the first one is actually covering an existing structure where we think that maybe there could be getting a little bit extra debris when it's windy and things like that. And maybe those are the small times where we're not meeting that top tier water. We think maybe with some covers, they would be able to consistently hit that higher quality. And then the additional sampling points and some flow meters to know how much water you're actually sending to each of the locations. So those are the costs that you're going to see in what we're calling the phase 2 connection, which is for that top tier water, that type 1 very good water that you can use even with the human contact irrigation systems.
Andrea.
Yeah.
So phase 1 is where we can start watering the fields, correct?
Fields that are not going to have any human contact. So, for example,
type 1, my mistake.
Yes, phase 2, exactly.
Type 1. Now, what would be our rate of return to make this feasible? Because I know what the cost is. So how long have y'all done the study on what we would be saving to say it'll take us 5 years to say we earned this back and it's starting to pay for itself or whatever the case may be?
So that would require a rate analysis, which we have not done, and we would need some additional information from the city to do that. But that is possible.
That's she's working up to it.
Yes. We're planning to sell it and also do the irrigation.
That's your next slide. These guys go faster than us.
They're thinking ahead.
Thinking ahead. That's the next slide. You go ahead.
Money is a concern.
Andrea, you want to go ahead and move on to the next slide?
Okay. So I guess since we don't know if the modifications would get you to that consistent ability to get to the type 1, there is an opportunity to put in tertiary cloth filtration, which would be an additional treatment step. A lot of plants do need this step in order to consistently meet the type 1 water quality. We might not, or we might. So we just want to make sure that that's clear. If we do these other modifications and you still are seeing some maximums every once in a while where you're not hitting the type 1, then we would recommend that you have to put in this other step. We would like not to, just because it is a little bit more maintenance and extra cost. But if you need it, there is that option to put in tertiary cloth filtration.
What additional treatments will we have to be doing to the water to get it to that level?
So hopefully none. Hopefully the treatment that they have now is enough, just with those covering that existing space and some of like the reliability components that they're already working on to make sure you've got pumps that are reliable and things like that. But hopefully none. But if we see that those few small changes don't get you there, this is the extra step that you would need.
Got it. Now, so basically the price that y'all have provided us, it's only to do the additional connection, the ability to connect, to disperse, and so forth of the water.
And the pump station, yes.
And the pump station.
Mm-hmm.
Do we know how much water we use at the complex right now?
I think it's a little over right now, because we just irrigate the fields primarily. I think it's a little over, I think it's like 5 million gallons per year. So it's about 5 million. This would be significant in the sense that, at least my recommendation to the council is to irrigate more than what you've been irrigating. Again, for me, the whole idea is to do things that you haven't done before to include additional irrigation. Right. So anyway, that's something that is just a recommendation. But anyway, that's to answer your question. Right now, we average about 5 million gallons, if I remember correctly. I'll verify that, Councilman. That's about 5 million.
I mean, this is just thinking ahead, but have we spoken with the still see if they'd be interested in recycled water for their fields?
We are,
I mean, I know that they've already got turf on the football field.
I got some ideas, Councilman. Be here now, I can share them with you here. You want to go ahead and give them the price or the next slide? That way.
Sure.
It kind of gives to what we're doing here. Go ahead.
So yes, so here are the costs, and again, these are high level costs, so they carry a little bit of conservatism for unknowns, which in past projects sometimes we use and sometimes we don't. So we don't anticipate that the cost would go up. It could go down or it might stay the same.
The background before that, show kind of an idea, so I can speak a little bit to that.
Sure.
Can you kind of explain what that diagram is?
Absolutely. So where you see kind of towards the bottom, that little red circle, that's where we recommend you can put in a pump station. And again, we'd be sizing it for about 350 gallons per minute to be able to fill that steel tank. And then from the steel tank, you can use it other places. Now, if you're not using that water yet, you wouldn't necessarily pump the whole amount, right? So you'd only really pump when you need the water. And
500,000 gallon tank?
500,000 gallon tank is that big circle on top, and the little circle is the pump station. So we would put in 2 10 horsepower pumps in there.
Right now, Council, so you all know, you basically dispose of about 328 million gallons of water a year down the channel. That's on average about 900,000 gallons. Now that's just wastewater. That doesn't include any drainage. That's wastewater that goes down, treated water that goes down the channel. So you have that's a little bit of water, 320 million gallons. It's a lot of water. So I'm saying that to the council member's point, and again, these are recommendations, council. This is things that we know we need to make improvements in, regardless of whether we move forward with this project or not. We know we have dollars to make improvements to the wastewater treatment plant. This can be an improvement. Okay, part of what we're doing is we're trying to make the water better quality. To do whatever it is that we want to do, whether we want to send it down the stream, whether we want to use it for irrigation, that's really our council's call on that. But in saying that, part of the discussion that's there, part of what you see in that diagram, there's a connection point. What I had asked the CDM Smith to do was to run that line down to Gilliam. Now, with that said, the county has currently, I think they have a surface water permit currently, that they're currently using that water for their pump. So if you go down, Mayor and I went out there, you go down there, you'll see a big, huge pump. They had a pump. Hector actually told me about this, but they have basically a tube that runs from that, I don't know how many feet, several feet. So they run it to the pond. And so the problem we have with that is because it's surface water, once it gets to the channel, they can only use a certain amount. Permit only allows for so much surface. What we're doing is we're capturing it before it turns into surface. So what we're doing is we're not going to use all of it by no stretch. We can't use 328 million gallons of water, but we can use some of it. So my point to that is if you wanted to share that opportunity, and I'm saying this is an opportunity with the county. Again, the line is there down Gilliam, and what you would do is allow them a connection point at that Gilliam location to be able to tie in, to be able to use it for their pond. They could use it for the park. Now, in saying that, to the council member's point, we are still going to see operating costs. So we're asking on that end, we still have to do a rate study to show how much we want to sell the water for, even to ourselves. I know people don't think we bill ourselves. The city bills itself for the water. So it's not like it's free. It ain't free. It is not free. It is the tax dollars that are going back to pay for a system. That's what it's doing. So to my point, to that end is the other one that we offered there is a place for folks that are currently potentially selling to oil field companies to tap in. I think at one time the city considered selling water to an oil field company. This was back during the boom.
The city engaged in the contract
Yeah,
with the company.
the problem with that is that they want to own the water. This gives you on the water, and you determine how you want to sell it, and you can do whatever it is you want to do with it. So to answer your question, council member, there is that consideration. What we don't have right now, and I think the one that brought it up, and I'm probably saying more than what I should, but Hector mentioned there are some oil companies that do use this water downstream, right? I don't know who those oil companies are. I don't know how much is sold to them. That is one of the X questions. But there is, in my opinion, there is a need and a use for this water. You can use it for multiple uses. And I'm saying on that end, capturing that water, to me is valuable. It is valuable. I think, as Councilmember pointed, this is everywhere in San Antonio. This is not. They're making. I think the last discussion we had when we went to San Antonio, they're using it now for the data centers. I think y'all heard a gentleman speak to that. So they're requiring these data centers to be close to treated water, this type of water, because that's what they're using for data centers. So in saying that, there is a use, there is a cost, but to that end, I would venture to say that you're paying a lot more for, you're going to pay a lot more for future clean water, potable water, than you are going to do this type of water. What I'm saying is you're already paying for this. You've already cleaned it. You've done everything. You still have to do some capital improvements, don't get me wrong, but you're already cleaning the water. My point is as we all keep pumping water out of the ground, it's eventually going to cost us more money. And that's all I'm getting at is, and this is not, it's new to Pearsall. It's not new. It's really not new. It is something as we start talking about other expenses, things we want to do to the complex. This is just a step to try to make the complex better. And, I hear the complaints, we play on stickers and grass and let's see, there's no grass or stickers and sticks. And I don't know where else we can play with out there, but that's part of the discussion is making the area better to build a true irrigation system. When I got here, I asked if we had an irrigation system. They said, well, yeah, we have one. And the irrigation system are the people that were back there. There are some irrigation spots. They have some trees, but there's not an irrigation system. There's manpower, but there's no irrigation system. And so anyway, to that point, council member, those two things, as far as consideration for the sale of water, there's 2 points that we're asking on that to consider points for selling the water.
Are they gonna, like county, the one that you want to rent to Gilliam?
Yes, sir.
Are they gonna share the cost or what? They're gonna pay for the water?
I think part of that is the operations. We're asking them on that end is we know that there's gonna have to be some sort of a fee, right, to the use of the water. Now, the build out, I think for my suggestion to the council is you can build it out to Gilliam. And then if, again, whether they can do it now or in the future, it's something that would be left to them, whether they want to connect to it and use it for their purposes, whether it's the pond, whether it's to irrigate just the grass out there. To me, it's less cost as far as the actual rate would be a less cost. And then the other part, it's drop proof. You're always going to have the water. It's not like we're going to ever shut off wastewater or this treated water because there's no water, because there's always going to be water, because I'll say always, so long as there's always going to be treated water. So yeah, to answer your question, I think the county was looking at drilling a well at one point for their pond. That ain't cheap. It ain't cheap.
We donated some money for that.
Yeah. So I think on that end, that's and so the county has put dollars into the TERS. We're going to meet with the TERS hopefully in the next meeting. If they'd like to do a design or moving forward with something like this, I think we'd leave it up to the county officials to decide if they want to consider this option. But it's something on that end. I think there's a market out there for this water, and I think we could add. So, but as far as the rate of return and how long it would take, councilman, I don't have that information.
Yeah, and something else. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
I think this is a great idea, but it's only a great idea if we intend to expand it towards 35, where we probably will see more business popping up, or we'll give them the option to use non-potable water for irrigation purposes.
I have an idea what to do, but I can't share right now.
So if we could somehow in the future maybe loop Business 35, swing it out that way.
I got a better idea. Go ahead.
Yeah,
I
so,
will share it now, but I'll share it.
but I mean, also is it's up to the council if they want to invest 3.2 million. But you said you could drop that down to like 2.2 or something?
We would have to do more design to know what it could come down to. Yeah. But I guess something else I'll throw out is by putting it, by doing kind of that steel tank approach, and even just in the phase one, making that line south with a blind flange at the end, it allows you to, in the future, connect to it once you know where it's going. And the other piece, why a lot of people are starting to do these types of projects, is because you have the reliability piece that even when you have, a drought, this water is available for things that don't require drinking water, right? Because you want to leave your drinking water for drinking, right? For the people, like that's the most important thing. So it's kind of the highest use. But by having this system in place, that wastewater still was going to go down the drain, right? So you weren't going to use it anyway. But by putting this in place, you're able to offset potable water that you would have to be using and use the drinking water for drinking and for the people. So that's why just the reliability piece that you're paying for as well.
Again, part of what, as y'all know, part of what we borrowed was $16 million. And a good chunk of that is going to go to the wastewater treatment plant. So what I'm suggesting is some of the improvements are going to be made. My guess, and I won't say it's a positive guess, is a lot of what we were going to do with this money that we're describing here is going to go into the plant to make the plant better. So we talked about water screens. There's other things that we can do. There's other things we need to do at the wastewater treatment plant, electrical panels. There's a whole slew of things, but what I'm suggesting to you is that a lot of that cost, council member, is going to be in the dollars that we've already borrowed. So again, it's an option if you guys don't want to. It's really something on y'all.
So this is just a presentation today, right?
It's a presentation, and it's going to lead to the next conversation. So I appreciate the.
All right, thanks.
Good. Oh, any other questions, council? No, so basically it's drop proofing and taking care of our drinking water. Right, that's correct, right? Basically what it is. And we can use it. Thank you for your time. Thank you, ma'am. Thank you.
Thank you. Nice to meet you all.
Okay, moving on to item 7B. Presentation regarding Texas Parks and Wildlife grant awarded to the city of Pearsall for improvements to the Victor Trevino Sports Complex and other related matters. Crystal?
Good evening, Mayor and Council. Again, I apologize, my presentation is coming out a little wonky here. Okay, as you all know, we do have the Texas Parks and Wildlife that is an ongoing project of ours. We did speak to our I'm gonna say grant manager, Mr. Robert Johnson. He did state in about October timeline, we would go ahead and be able to accept the award. So right here, 1.47 total approved budget. That our budget is amendable. These are not final numbers. We can always go back and ask them to amend the budget, move monies around if we don't have any certain money that's allocated to a certain line item. We can move it around. It's not final numbers. So right here, revitalization is financed via a highly favorable 50/50 reimbursement grant administered by Texas Parks and Wildlife Department. Approved funding for, again, it's 50/50. So as of right now, the city's match would be $732,769, which is matched with Texas Parks and Wildlife Department. So what we want to put in it, Texas Parks and Wildlife is going to match it 50%.
Would that include any type of any kind or just strictly dollar signs?
As of right now, we don't have any type of in-kind that's budgeted for it.
I think we have to clear that with them,
Yes.
Mayor. And part of that, to answer Councilman Garza's question, part of what we're asking to use is the hotel money for that.
Yes.
$732,000. So that's part of the request, part of the discussion we've had previous discussions on this, but that is part of the use of that.
And if I might add a little bit to the research that I've done, Gus, on the hotel motel tax, it strictly tells you that, you can't use it for local use, like building and all that. It's gotta be from outside coming in. So that's where these, weekend tournaments that they have and all that, now, that, yes. But it's gotta be, you understand what I'm saying? It can't be for the local.
You have to, on that consideration to that is Hispanic Heritage Festival.
Something that comes from the
We're
outside.
having more events out there. Part of the discussion, to the council's point is there has to be some intended use that's gonna be for people that are out from out of town and for regional purposes, I'm gonna say, in the sense that, so to answer your question, there's gonna have to be, my suggestion to the council is, I think we've talked about things we wanna do, right? And so from improvements to the complex, things we wanna do, so we wanna make this a regional attraction. The regional attraction, and I'm not just, I mean, I know that we talked about a lot about baseball, but a regional attraction as far as events and the other things we want to do. I know we've talked about, making the Hispanic heritage bigger. I have my mindset of what things we can do out there. I know Councilman, she stepped out of the office, but she's talked about improving electrical out there. We talked about improving lighting out there. We talked about putting grass out there. All this what we're talking about but to make it a regional attraction, again, part of what we're asking is to utilize treated water. That's where I'm going with this is there has to be some investment. And again, right now we're making a big investment in what we're doing, in my opinion, but to make it what we want to do more about it, aside from, and again, even hosting Little League events at the regional level, there has to be that investment. And I think we're getting there, but I won't steal her thunder, Crystal, but it is something that, as we're thinking about this is one of the things that we're asking the council to consider.
I guess I just didn't understand because I know it was a Little League tournament. But what you just said was that this was for the purposes of bringing people from the outside in, which we had teams from the outside come in. So I just needed some clarification.
Let me clarify. We may need more hotel money. So I'm leaving a little some in reserve. I can't pull the entire, so we're trying to leave some and pull dollars as we need it, primarily for bigger projects. We have funded other projects with hotel tax. I think the last one, a significant project, I think was at the Civic Center. I think there was a purchase. There were some things that was done in 2016, 17. I can't remember when that was done. But we've done something with hotel funds here since I've been here, but not anything significant. I'll be the first to say that. But this would be the first significant project that we so
That was to include the purchase of the Civic Center as well as the renovations of the Civic Center.
Well, I may add, Crystal, on that deal that we just talking about. I believe the magic number, Councilman Garza, is 50 miles, I believe. I think it's, if I'm not mistaken, it's gotta be 50 miles, you know. From Uvalde might be, what is it, Uvalde 40, no, I think it's 49.
Uvalde's 51.
51, it's like Uvalde, you might have been one there.
there has to be some analysis.
Yeah, there's something there that you gotta put together that.
And then right here, just the recommended budget allocation. Again, these numbers are not final. We can amend these. You can play with these numbers a little bit. We did want to go ahead and include a larger splash pad as another amenity to be an attraction to our complex. That'll help also engage those children that are not necessarily playing sports, don't have the capacity to sit there and focus on the game. Another parent can go ahead or another guardian can go ahead and assist those and watch those children in
And we use that water, right?
No, sir.
I will say Texas Parks and Wildlife is requiring a recirculating system though. So that is, yeah.
Not that certain.
Not that circulating system, but they are requiring a circulating system for for the splash pad itself. So that is gonna take up a lot of funds, of course. The recirculating system is a lot of money. But it is also a good investment to go ahead and save the water for those who need it most, our patrons, our citizens that are actually paying for that bill. Also right here, just a quick breakdown of the whole pie chart right there. Again, my presentation is wonky. So this is just a quick snapshot of the project timeline. I didn't put months or finer tune details in here just to make sure just that it's a little flexible. As far as planning, again, October-ish is about whatever we're gonna be able to accept the grant award officially after it goes through NPS. And then we hope to plan to source Deborah Dockery. She already has knowledge because she has the Parks Master Plan that she helped develop, she created with the assistance of Councilman Ramiro Council and the public, that survey that we did a couple years back, extracting that data. So there's no need for us to go out and source another individual from the outside. She already has inside knowledge.
Deborah Dockery's market.
Correct. She's our on-call. She's with the city. Design, again, that'll be through Deborah Dockery to go ahead and assist us with specs, design of the overall layout, stuff like that. Again, we don't know if we're gonna have a final answer from Texas Historical Commission hopefully by the 31st. If we're gonna go ahead and need that survey. If not, that's about $20,000-$30,000 that we can allocate to another line item.
Can we go this the one above before that and just kind of read to them, it's kind of hard to read. What's the project scope?
Right here. So again, it's just a quick,
What is
where are you talking about?
All the projects?
Oh, projects is gonna be splash pad, the inclusive children's playground. I did get a book, so I'm going to be looking through that. Accessible sidewalks, which is gonna be connected from the splash pad to the inclusive playground. In addition to that, it's gonna be the heavily needed upgrades to the concession stand and the bathroom area for the existing building that we do have out there, as well as shaded area for shaded seating area, I'm sorry, between the two new amenities, picnic tables, nesting boxes, community gardens. One of the key elements that scored a lot of points was a pollinator pockets, which local wildlife, bees, stuff of that, it attracts it, pollinates, and yeah. So that was another big amenity that helped score well.
But jogging trail, I see up there. too.
Expansion of the jogging trail, yes, sir.
Jogging trail.
And that's where additional lighting will come into play heavily. You want a bigger jogging trail, we have to extend that lighting.
Yes.
Yes. And of course, the lighting out there, it's heavily needed already as it is.
For the complex, right? You said
What was that?
that that's gonna help the for the concession stand and stuff like that.
The upgrade to the concession stand and bathrooms, yes, ma'am.
Okay, will that include like the stuff we discussed when we were at the Little League about the cements and stuff like that? Can that be added to that or no? The fan?
Oh, yes, that's also included in there, yes, ma'am, and an upgrade to the HVAC systems, yes, it is. There's gonna be a whole new revamping of the entire area. Again, design 2026 bidding, we hope to go out early 2027. Build will run through 2027, and then we're hoping to have a reopening spring of 2028. This will be about maybe March, April area, just in time for Little League to be opening up. So they should be the individuals that are using it first.
You want to show the value real quick?
I don't think it's bad news, but of course, again, with our estimations, construction timelines will physically overlap with the traditional sports calendars, prompting the need for temporary alternative logistics. This is something that was discussed with Little League in our negotiations this year for this contract. However, we are going to do everything possible to not hinder their season. So we're gonna work it out. We're gonna be in communications with Little League the entire time, updating them on the timeline. But unfortunately, we do highly think that it is probable that the rental schedule after Little League, June, July, and to October, is going to be affected because that's when it's gonna be heavy construction.
Council, I don't have a question, but I do have a comment. And I know that we've been at this for years already, and I am most excited and have worked and advocating for this grant for a while since Ms. Morano was around. But I have to give a lot of credit to the staff and administration for the work they did. This has been years in the books of receiving this grant. And if you have been at this, during this presentation where me and myself and Ms. Morano attended at the parking lot in Austin, it was cities that, I mean, you would think that these are cities that are already privileged and have the funding to be able to get this money for this purpose. Again, this is we know that the attraction, majority of the huge attraction to the city of Pearsall is your sports complex for the Little League and things that are utilized for that. But again, we also have to think about the communities outside of sports and stuff. So this is where our envision of the city sits. Again, I cannot express the gratitude that we have to give to the staff, Hector, Crystal, Fred, everybody who participated in writing this grant. And this is where we can take advantage of it. It tears my heart apart to see what other cities are being awarded in the millions and millions of dollars currently that we're seeing in LaSalle and things like that. So this is what we sit up here, what I sit up here and advocate for is this grant funding, because we don't have those means for this funding to get these prestige areas like sports complex. And so again, I'm super excited in getting this off the ground and rolling. And I know that I've been with Crystal back and forth and Fred, what's going on with the grant, where's the grant, because it takes years to get this going, but finally, and so I just hope that your support is behind it.
Yes.
Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you, Crystal. Thank you, Fred.
Thank you. And just to add on to that, from the beginning, from the Park Master Plan to the Texas Parks and Wildlife Grant, not just the city has been kept in mind, it's been our local sports organizations, it has been our local ISD. This is a community's facility. It's not just the cities. So hope in mind that the what? So hopefully, of course, that it'll expand for our Pearsall youth organization to utilize the fields, as well as Little League, as well as the ISD.
Put some treated water into the swimming pool.
Right, was this, did we get led to this grant through EMC or was it the one that, Ben Briscoe pointed
No,
out?
this is something actually that, to her credit, actually all the staff and Ms. Moran put this together, the grant. There was 2 applications that we put in prior to. We did this one on our own. And so staff, the help of staff, Ms. Moran, they were able to push it through. So to that end, yeah, it's long overdue. We've been trying to get this grant for years. It's been at least 3. So we finally came through. We finally got to where we're here now. And so I think the community, hopefully, what we're here is what the elected officials and myself or anybody else, if they can see improvements, I think that's a benefit. And so to that end, we've had discussions with, as you all know, we've had discussions with the school district. They approached us at one time using that facility as their soccer field. As y'all know, they have UIL soccer. None of the UIL soccer is in town. I'm not, nobody, well, I'm probably going to say one. But anyway, but that's been a long conversation. So my suggestion to the council is, as you start improving, think about things that you can do to partner with the school district. And that means getting the field up to par to include the soccer field where you can host UIL soccer. And again, those partnerships have to be there. and with partnerships come responsibilities and also, funding, right? It always plays, we know now that there's issues with practice fields. People are practicing wherever, what I'm understanding. So even if you have exceptional practice fields and they're not the UIL standard soccer fields, we know that, or even baseball fields, we know that there are fields that it's going to be used by the community, no matter what you're doing. I mean, we have, that to me is the goal, is the use and the facility, aside from what they have.
Thank you, Crystal.
No? Go, yeah.
Good news.
You know,
We're ready to move on?
Yeah.
Yes, exactly.
You're good.
All right. 7E, going on to item 7E, discussion regarding ballot measures for the May 2027 election.
Do we still need the lights off or?
Yes, sir, we got all kinds of presentations. Don't fall asleep on. But yeah, we'll be going into some presentations, and so we'll go ahead, Christoph, I'll put you break ice.
As you see right there, city staff is recommending 2 ballot measures for May of 2027. Now, I know you're making that face. May 2027 is supposed to technically be our year off from elections. However, these are going to be special elections, not your general elections for council seating or mayor. One is going to be for the sale of our gas system, and the second is for any proposed charter, changes to the charter. As you all know, every 2 years you can review your charter, every 5 you can change it, you can amend it, you can change it. So that falls to May of 2027 because the last time it was altered was in 2022. So we've hit our 5th year mark. And if there are any other city council has any other measures that they're wanting to add on there, you're more than welcome to do so. Just gonna show this is the Charter Review Commission final report that was presented to council in February of 2022. You do have to appoint individuals to that board. I'm going to personally ask, well, I'm not gonna do city clerk at that time. I don't believe so.
You might.
I will assist if needed, not a problem. But I am going to ask, sorry, Mr. Reyes, that we appoint individuals who are going to show up for every meeting. Yes, it was very difficult to get all individuals for us to get a quorum. So just if we're gonna appoint individuals, I'm gonna ask that you guys speak to the commission, to those board members, and say, do you want to serve and can you serve diligently? Because it is important. This is an important factor of our city. It's our federal charter.
So if we know someone, when do we need to give you the name?
No. Putting someone, do you want to explain them the measures, when can the last May actually? On behalf of February, is that?
Yes, it's gonna be February is the last time that we can put them on there. However, we're gonna ask that it's done no later than January. Usually whenever we call elections, it's the first meeting in January, and you do have to go ahead and well, we can call the election technically.
So these meetings should start around August, September.
Yeah.
To give them time to review the charter and make.
Correct, just so they have some time to work on it. Now, again, the reason why this is up here February 7th of 2022, because it does have to have time to go to Bobby's firm for review for the wording to be placed on the ballot.
So if we want something put on the ballot, how soon do we need to? I mean, what's that doing?
I mean, I believe we're gonna put this on for August, September for appointment for individuals for boards and commissions.
If we'd like to amend.
Yes.
If we'd like to add an amendment or amend something in that.
For the charter?
Yes.
That would be a recommendation once the board and commission is up and going.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay, so Crystal.
So it'll be about the fall.
You just said January, so when do we need to have people that are making appointments?
You
just said October.
no, August, September is when we would want to hope to appoint individuals to get them to meet, familiarize themselves with the current charter, and then see if there's anything.
It'll be the council meeting in August.
Yeah.
It'll be the council, we're asking for your appointments at that time, correct?
Are any volunteers out there in the audience? If they want to show up.
Yeah.
Anytime.
I think there was how many changes, Crystal?
I believe we had off the top of my head right here. Four is what we amended last time. And this is just the report that Bobby's, that the commission and Bobby's firm puts together. It does talk about the article, the section that it pertains to, why it's being changed, and then the recommendation. So there is a little bit of a process to it, the way it has to be worded. And then this is what the final sample ballot that was considered in 2022. So it is very specific. There have been changes, of course, to the code as to how we word it and the rights of the citizens. They can come back and say, you know what, I don't like the way you have that worded. And we'd have to go ahead and send it off to Secretary of State if they don't like our word, pretty much. So there's a little bit of a process.
Any other questions, council?
We also do have for the gas. Yeah. For the gas, several of our gas departments, I'm gonna go ahead and call up Mr. Hector Gondra up here.
No, there's a presentation Hector's gonna speak to.
This is an old one.
We've been talking about this, and I think the council is aware. I think not last election, but the election before, there was a ballot item on there to sell the gas. I believe it failed by less than 100 votes. In saying that we want to bring it to the council's attention again, and it's not something that we enjoy or like doing, but it is something that we do an abundance of caution and making sure that we're reporting information to y'all, that y'all understand the implications of whatever it is you want to do with the gas system. Whether you want to keep it, raise rates, not raise rates, whether you want to sell the system. Those are things that we need to make sure on that end that we kind of have give you a better indication of where we are. We have some folks that are here and probably the quietest guy in the room. But gentleman eventually he's going to retire on us probably the next year or two. Right back over there. He's been with the city over 45 years. So we're losing a lot. But he's been around since the system's been, no, not that long.
Installed the first line.
And so with that, well, we do recognize, and that'll be part of the discussion. So we wanted to make sure to discuss that with some of the operational things that are going on. And on the financial side, I'll go over some things and maybe it'll help with it and make sure you give you an idea of why we're ready to do this.
Good evening, council, mayor, CM. The following packet you have before you, full disclaimer that they're facts and they're super accurate. They're based on 2026, 2027 actual costs. So let's get into it. So if you turn over to the first page, it says executive statement. I'm not going to go through the whole thing. It's not really large or anything like that, but the two key points I want to touch on are actually strategically placed on the first paragraph and the last paragraph. So, and it basically states the gas system's inability to maintain self-sufficiency, and it also states that there's other municipal utilities that help support and subsidize the department. So, and this has been going on for quite a while. And also at the end of the statement, you have italicized indicating that our system needs it's in dire need of a mass replacement program. So and we'll get into that further in the packet here. But before doing that, if you want to turn over to the next page, which is I've put together some fun and not so fun facts about the gas system. If number one, if you can imagine this thing, and this is according to Google. I didn't know where to look. Yeah, I didn't know where to look. I tried asking Rudy, but even he wasn't too sure when exactly it was first implemented. But according to Google, City of Pearsall implemented it back in 1945. So that would put it at around almost 80 years old. Right. So it's an old system. Now in 2017, 2018, we did revamp about 70% of the town's northeast side, which is north of Colorado and east of Oak Street. You know, this 70% of that portion of town. Now, the remaining, well, I wouldn't know as far as percentages, how much remaining is old, but you know, the rest of it is pretty old. You know, minus what we've done in-house, most of it is 79 years old. So it's a pretty old system, needless to say. And the next, number two, over the past decade, it shows you how much we've actually lost in the customer base. So that's a not so fun fact.
So the residents just not use it anymore, right? So everything like maybe.
Not residential, commercial, we still see a steady, you know, and then maybe some proposed developments might ask for gas system, you know, but some of our bigger ticket customers are, you know, some of the like prison and
They still use that.
some of the peanut, you know, seasonal, but the peanut uses a lot of gas during the peanut season. So there is some steady commercial use, but residential looks like it's a little bit of a decline. 35% is work, basically. So, and number three, subject that nobody likes to talk about is a qualified consultant. That is a mandatory, almost mandatory to have somebody on staff, you know, or in our back pocket, I should say. That also is a not so fun fact because those are pricey, like very, very pricey. Moving on to number four, this is a sort of a fun fact. Gas has a natural rotten egg smell, and only because we're the ones that make it smell like that. You know, we purposely insert a certain type of gas to because it's odorless and colorless. So we insert marsaptan, which is the odorizer, and to make it smell the way it smells. So that way, whenever there's a leak, we're able to detect it. Otherwise, it'd be hurtful. But anyways, so the next two are really fun facts. Nationally, we have some enough gas mains in our nation to go to the moon at least 3 times back and forth. So that's a true fun fact. And then lastly, the best one out of all of them, it's Pearsall has enough mains to travel from Pearsall to Pleasanton. Just to give you an idea how much mains are in the city of Pearsall right now as we speak. And a good chunk of that are 79 years old, 79, 80 years old. So now getting into the meat, we can skip this. We'll save that one for last, but getting down to the meat and potatoes here. These are true facts. If you want to go to the next slide, yeah. These are actual costs. These are operational demands. This is what we really pay, what we actually pay annually. This is and these are just some of them. These are not including operational costs. These are compliance and regulatory and operational demands that we have to pay annually. So I won't get too much into the numbers. They're in your packet. You can see them. They're quite large at some points. But can you go back to the last one?
So Hector, with all the costs and everything, we've already put on the ballot, tried to sell it. The citizen said no.
Okay.
So the only option we got is a price increase, right?
Yeah.
Yeah,
And talking about the price increase,
there's two things we're asking, you know, man, is rate increase. Part of what Hector's describing is this the operating cost, right? What we've done, and this is part of what we make sure is any debt we issue, the system doesn't have the capability because when we issued debt for the 2016 bond, which included gas repairs and improvements, none of that is currently in the gas rate. So as Hector pointed out, what's paying for that, what's paying those improvements are the water and wastewater customers. They're paying, so right now, in your rate structure right now, the gas system, there is no, so any future improvements we want to make, so we want, which we need to, any future improvements we're going to make, we're investing more into the system. We're going to ask you for at least between $1 million to $2 million for improvements to the meters. Hector will touch on some of that. We've looked at whether we're using gas as far as like gas leaks. I think we're 11%.
We're at 11% gas. Atmosphere, as far as the gas leak survey, we've done them ourselves and we've done professionally done, and we're about a 0.5% off. So
And that's a lot, less than what it was roughly 10, 15 years ago.
that's correct. That is correct. I mean,
And,
we did do a massive,
Revamp.
revamp, correct?
Yeah. So, of course, we all know, as any blind person can tell you, we gotta do rate increase. I mean, and we have no choice. I mean, that's just what it is. It is what it is. Another thing too, Fred, other than talking about rate increases, I know that we were talking about doing some meter changes sometimes back. To, especially to the commercial accounts.
Yes, sir.
Correct.
Because those are the ones that, you know, we possibly are losing the most percentage at.
Yes,
And
sir.
then we also spoke about a conversion from BTUs over to what the system, y'all use Encode or what do y'all use?
Well, the billing system, yes, they can touch on the billing.
Yeah, so with that, part of it is done, is Jeff Snowden does that for us, so that's part of his analysis, that's been done. So what he came to is that, and the reason I brought up the leak detection, we're still at a 40% gas loss. So so what I'm saying on that is not only do we need commercial replacements, we need replacement, again, as I mentioned in the previous conversation, most of our meters, we're going to test this, are probably around 40 years old. So what we're suggesting is, aside from the commercial meter replacement, we need to do residential replacement, which would be, our estimates are estimating as far as just the meters, about $1 million to $2 million. So
Going back a little bit, it's possible that we're not losing gas to atmosphere, we're losing it to customers.
you're losing it to your meters. Your
Yeah,
meters,
to
not
the meters, yeah,
meters,
to customers.
You have some meters out there that have zero consumption. So part of what I'm getting at, Councilmember, just so we can all, is we're saying that we'd like to make the investment with the understanding we're gonna keep the system. If we're not keeping the system, then it would, my assumption is that you're not gonna get the dollars from selling the system from the investment that you make. So that's kind of what we're at, is we can come to the council and ask for the investment of $1 million to $2 million with the understanding that we're gonna keep the system. And so that's what we're at with this. And so if the council is asking for us to look at rate increases with the understanding that we're gonna keep the system and we're gonna make the investment, then there wouldn't be a need for an election. But in saying that, part of what I want to make sure of is understand right now, we just without any, right now, as of year to date, I had to run some numbers. I believe we are at, right now, in the negative revenues to expenses. Year to date, right now, we're at a negative $169,000. So we have revenue and expenses that are outweighing our revenues right now. We had some last year. We had a loss last year. I think it was over
Last year it was 169,000, and currently, as of today, it's about 132,000.
I had it right. So we've had losses, council members. So again, this is not taking into account any debt that has been issued. Ideally, what you want is consistency pay for themselves. So we issued, I believe there was, I don't remember how much work was done on the gas system in 2016. I believe it was in the millions.
Money wise.
It was a substantial amount of money, in saying that none of that is being paid by the gas system. So what in essence you're doing is you're paying for improvements to a system that's not paying for itself. So our point, my recommendation, your point is that if you want to make more of an investment with the hope of it paying itself back to include increasing water, increasing rates, gas rates, and that's what we'll do. But I do need some direction. I'd like to have some direction from the council.
I think the citizens have voted against it the last election time we put it on there, and they clearly overwhelmingly didn't want to sell it. And I know that there's a couple of people on the council that didn't want to sell it as well. If it was up to me, I would say let's make the investment and let's go ahead and raise rates. I've been saying that for years, and I will continue in saying that.
Okay.
Now, again, it's not my decision. There are 7 other people that sit up here, so it's whatever we overwhelmingly say.
Well, that said, let's talk about the mass replacement program. Some of the estimated costs of them now, if we were to replace just the meter itself, because you're right, a lot of the good chunk of the 40% loss, right? 40% loss would come out of the measurement. You know, it'd be a good chunk of it, not all of it, but the good chunk of it would be the measurement, right? So, and that just tells you the age of the meter has a lot to do with it, the diaphragm.
The orifice.
Yeah, so there's a lot of stuff going on in there. There is some new technology out there, but if we were to stick to the basic meter, the cheapest run of the mill, and just replace the meter itself, you know, with the customer base that we have now, and I've ran some numbers, these are actual numbers, but if we were to just replace with no components, we're looking at $500,000. You know, no components, but you start factoring the indexes, components, accessories, anodes, and all that good stuff. And then of course your technology to capture the readings properly and accurately. Once you factor all that in, it drives the number to $2.1 million. So
Yeah, that's.
But when you offset that with what we're losing, how long will it take us to recoup that? And then thereafter, we have the system that belongs to us and we're still collecting that lost gas. So that's another study that we probably gotta think is, okay, if we're losing 40%, now if we capture that 40%, how much are we gonna make in a year, 2 years, 3 years? And expand, what's the life expectancy of those meters? And if those meters are 15, 20, 30 years out, then it's well worth it, right? But if it drops down to where that meter is only good for 5 years, then yeah, maybe it's not worth it.
We would have to, on that, council member, to your point, is we would have to, again, my suggestion to you all is we could do the analysis, but until I know what it actually, the decrease is, I can make assumptions and say that we're gonna decrease to 40% to 10%. But until we actually put the meters in, I can't give you that number.
Yeah.
So you have to actually.
Well, we could play it at the safe side and say, you know what, 20%.
Yeah, I mean.
And just cut it in half. Even if we cut it in half, that's 20% of the loss of gas. That's a lot of gas.
It would be significant, and again, you have, as far as, we anticipate it would be significant.
What's our sale of gas in 1 month?
Sale of gas, so we have right now, let me make sure we got this here.
but just so you know, realistically, you'll never be at 0%.
Oh, yeah, you're always gonna have a loss. Yeah. But if you're down to 10%,
That's correct.
that's awesome.
Yeah.
We were here today, let me just do an average here. Yeah, as of, this is, look, I have them September 30th, I can't find, can you do a quick calculation on what we have so here today of how much we sell on per month, or this last month's sales?
Oh, yes, this last one.
We probably should do an average because.
Winter time is probably higher.
More higher. We get an average of that.
Well, even in the summertime, it's just summertime.
It's fine.
It's gonna be low in.
This month you want the gas tax.
Yes.
Okay, so this, up to the current period, we're about 39,240.
You're about $40,000, give or take, for gas sales every time.
So 16,000, no, we're losing because 40% of 40,000 is roughly 16, right?
So you have a gas loss, and again, that's, there's losses, I wish I could, so even if we say we captured it all, right, which you're not. Yeah, you're talking doubling, almost doubling.
But you say you capture 8,000 of it, half of it. Yeah. That's, you know, in the year, that's 96,000.
It will be, again, something the council, to me, again, consideration. The challenge with any system is, I can't tell you, aside from water, I can't tell you that you're not gonna lose the customers. So you have to, again, all those assumptions have to be made in the sense that if somebody is paying more for a service to include gas, you know, there's another possible way of somehow maybe just going to electricity. There's no assurances from my end that you're gonna lose more customers, which makes it cost more for the customers.
Yeah.
So
I say in my opinion, I say this investment, it's an investment, and citizens voted already against it. We put it on there. I think it was like 60-70% that voted against it, Crystal?
It was a heavily in favor of rejecting the sale.
Yeah.
Correct.
So I say let's just invest money into it, raise rates, and put on some new meters and.
Are we prepared for that investment?
We're gonna ask you to borrow money. We're gonna ask you to borrow at least, again, at least, to describe your, we're gonna ask you to borrow at least $1 million, for that. And then again, with that, with what we borrow, we will have a revenue piece in the study to tell you what the additional cost will be. But it will be, from my standpoint, it will be expensive. You're talking, I think we talked to bond payments. I think I've spoken to Mr. Snowden about that. Some of it is built in your rate assumption, but in saying that, it is something that I want to make sure that if you want to move forward with the system, we can keep it. I will say this, I think what I understood the last election, I think this is just, I can't speak for everybody, but I think people were misinformed. I think people understood that it was gonna cost them more. Yeah, I'm not gonna say that it's not, but I'm saying that that was the assumption, and I think Crystal may have heard a little more system than I had, but in saying that, there was people that were being brought into the, with the understanding that it was gonna cost them more. Either way, it's gonna cost them. I mean, there's no doubt. I mean, what we lose from the sale of the gas system is to some extent is control of the rates. You don't get to control rates, but part of that, I think, again, what I would ask the council is part of that is people need to understand that the people that are subsidizing are your water and wastewater customers. That is who's subsidizing the gas system right now, and it'll continue that way until
Well,
we.
my opinion is, we're not gonna invest in this within the next year. By the time election time, if we were to put it in the ballot, by the time election comes around. We need to plan A and plan B, let's put it in the ballot one more time. If it fails again, then we go to plan B and then, okay, we gave the opportunity, explained ourselves, and presented the information once more time, so in case you were confused back then. And then if not, well then, we work on plan B because you're ready to increase.
You have,
what else can we?
I think the city of Dillon is going over.
And this is where we have to do our work to present this town halls and educate the people as far as why it's not working for the city. And in the long run, I mean, I'm hearing what you're saying. And in the long run, it's the maintenance part of it, the things we have to look at behind the scenes, not just fixing the problem.
Well, I think you gotta look at it in different directions, because yes, you're correct, you'll pass the buck to someone else for someone else to fix it. But in the long run, what ends up happening is another entity controls the price, of course, based off of the regulations of the railroad commission, which they're allowed to go up so many %. And that is the max they can go, but they still control it. We no longer can say the elderlies are gonna have a subsidized price because they're elderlies.
That's true.
We no longer have that control. At this point, we pass the book to the new owners and tell them, you take care of it.
Yep.
Now, if y'all are willing to take that chance, I mean, I always hear people talk about the elderly.
That's what I was gonna be my next question about that.
You will not have
the elderly.
one leverage on what that gas price will be. It will be strictly upon them based off the railroad commission's allowance tolerance that they get.
Yep.
And
But
that's
we
plain as a-
received that data, right? We received the data of how many elderly actually have
Yeah,
gas.
we do have that information. So part to your point, Councilmember, you're right. The implication, somebody's gonna pay for it.
Yeah, someone's gonna pay for it. So either we do it and we manage the cost, or someone else does it, they manage the cost at their mercy.
I think I'll get into that point. It's a good point. You've had systems, I mean, I think Dillon's more on the second, third attempt to try to sell their system. I think they're put something on a ballot. They've tried 2 or 3 times. You've had the city of Lila, the solar system. You've had the city of Castro that's tried, it's failed. You've had the city of Divine, the solar system. So you have people, we're all struggling. The city of Petula, you have all these cities that are struggling. We all recognize the struggle. Again, to that end is there's not a happy place or happy medium as to what we want to do. It's just we want to spend the money to somebody. But to that point, Mayor Pro Tem, somebody at the end of the day will have to pay for the expenses, whatever they are, whether it's the elderly, your ratepayers on the water and wastewater side. Somebody will have to pay for the expenses as it relates to the gas.
But again, I mean, I don't see a reason why we wouldn't want to put it in the ballot. Let it run. Let the people decide, and then while we prepare for plan B.
But they need to be educated by first before they go.
Yes, I'd like to piggyback off of what Mr. Ray had said, but Councilman Ramiro was saying. As you all know, I'm the early voting clerk for the city of Pearsall, so I'm in the polling place while voting city place. And while I cannot comment or have conversations with the voters regarding things that are on the ballot, outside of assisting, which is just reading the ballot, a lot of comments that I did hear is while they're putting the ballot in the ballot box is, oh, you're crazy, y'all are gonna be charge me whatever they want. I'm not gonna sell the gas system, I'm not okay with that. There was a lot of comment, and it was primarily the elderly demographic, so they were misinformed, yes. I do feel like someone was out there spinning it and not giving the full truth of what it was.
We put it in the paper, we had that flyer, like, put it with bill or something, just let them know, hey, this, it is, you're really talking about this is what it is.
I think it was like that, going to your, certain neighborhoods where you have the elderly demographic, putting it on your trash can, like you said, put as much information, take the information to them. Town halls are great, but unfortunately, we don't really see an elderly demographic here, in my opinion, for your town halls, but it is good to have it because you do have those grandchildren, those nieces and nephews that will take that information back, or that do pay the bill for their elders.
So that is the city attorney confirms, but we, the city, as a city, cannot take a position in this matter.
Correct.
I don't know if that's correct to say, but as far as being for or in favor of something.
It's gonna be up to the council to pass that information,
So
because the city itself cannot publicize for or against.
Well, you don't spend public money advocating for or against a proposition.
Okay.
But you obviously have an obligation to put out.
The facts, the pros and cons.
Exactly. And just briefly, your system loses money. It always has. It always will. It just means your water and sewer rates are higher than they need to be, because they are the ones that are subsidizing the accounts for gas that are losing money. It's just.
So I think we got two options, either we jump on it and fix it, or we wait a year and postpone it until it's on the ballot. That's a decision that we're all gonna have to make. Do we wanna throw it to the back burner until next May, and then after the elections, then it's gonna be, another few months to get it started? So you're looking at maybe 2 years, or you start moving the ball now and start fixing it, and you're a year ahead of the game.
It's up to y'all. Again, the investment is what, if you sell the system, again, my thought is you're not gonna get that investment back with selling the system. Meaning, if you get somebody, a buyer, they're not gonna look, they're gonna give you pennies to the dollar of the investment that you make, or replacing meters. I would say pennies to the dollar, but you're not gonna get the same value of a new meter.
That's like getting the car and selling it.
Yes, sir. So again, that's just, again, it's really up to the council. Then the recommendation from staff, myself, is we do know that this is, we're losing money, and I don't think I've been doing a decent job, but I need to just make y'all aware that this is happening, and we just need some sort of direction from the council as far as policy, how you want to move forward. But the information is there.
And I agree 100%. We're losing tremendous amount of money, but that's at the fault of the people who sit up here, because we have failed to increase rates and do what's necessary to get the system up to standards.
So Fred, you said that some of the cities out there have done it, you said Divine has done it.
Lidle has failed, so has Catherine.
Who has done it? Just to get feedback on them to see what's been the cons of actually doing that, how's it affecting them?
Lidle has been here regionally. Lidle's been the most recent set. Lidle solar gas system. But the Divine did it a few years back. You guys remember Simon Pena? Simon did some work for us, and he was able to give us some cities that have solar system. So I know that, again, everybody, we've contemplated it, we've talked about it, put it up for a ballot. But I believe that was our first time. But there's others that have tried multiple occasions to try to sell the system. But I think Lidle was the most recent. I think they passed theirs a year or two.
So do we have a little bit of time to find out how it's affecting those people that have solar? To see what's, to see what effect, what feedback they've gotten as far as negative, especially negative, of course, that's what we're looking for those people that have solar. Divine said it's done it right for about a year, you said, right?
Yeah, they've been,
About in a year, they should figure out, see what's going on, see what other, we can find out what other towns have been doing that. Yeah, see what they have got before we, if we have a little time.
What we do, Mayor, I think on that area was a good idea to ask, and then maybe just poll some questions.
Yeah, for some of those areas to see what they're dealing with.
Yes. Yeah, that's right.
Any questions?
Any questions for Hector? Any more? No questions. Okay, think that's it, X. Thank you, buddy.
Anything else regarding the May ballot, mayor and council, anything else you want to propose that we do that to the council? We don't have any, as far as staff recommendations, so anything else on the ballot, those are our two recommendations.
Okay. Okay, going on to item 7F, discussion regarding current city of Kearsarge boards and commissions. Crystal, what do you got on that?
A lot of information.
Good stuff.
We do have a couple of, a lot of boards that we have under our belt. As of right here, we do have the planning and zoning. They do have 2-year terms. I look back at Ms. Hudson as well as city council's notes. It looks like as though they just expired November of 2025. I have spoken to these individuals. They state they are willing to serve again. However, Ms. Belinda Gonzalez did officially resign as of last month, 2 months ago. And she had been missing a couple of meetings, unfortunately. So she went ahead and she withdrew her spot on the Planning and Zoning Commission. Board of Adjustments, unfortunately, the last time we had appointments, it was in 2021, as you see. Only 2 individuals were appointed. We've never had an active BOA. We do not have an active Board of Adjustments. Library Board, they are very productive. They are very active. They meet every single month.
Awesome.
And their terms are current. Ethics Commission in 2024, they just expired, or about to just expire right now. Currently serving, we have Oscar Garza, Sylvia Patterson, Marisol de Leon, Grace Medina, Mary Moore, Leticia de Leon, and B. Nieto. Those are the ones that are currently seated on the Ethics Commission. They have yet to convene. We have not had any type of ethics complaints or anything like that have been submitted, so we have not met. But again, so we would need to reappoint for that board as well. Sure. Next meeting again with the Charter Commission. Go ahead and come in with your appointments for each individual board that you.
You don't want to reach out to these people and see if they
I can certainly
before you start appointing.
I certainly can. I think yeah. We can send. I think in the policy we can send a letter. Is what I understand.
Assuming you are okay with all the appointments.
Okay.
Pretty good.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. I currently have Oscar Garza on the P&Z, and he's also on the Ethics Commission. Oh, yeah, you can have overlapping. On the TERS, these have been long since appointed since the TERS started being active. We did have Ms. Andrea Martinez resign, unfortunately, due to other things that she has going on in her life. But as of right now, it is an active board. They are very opinionated. They are very inquisitive, and of course, Mr. Reyes and them have fun every time we meet. So we would need an appointment. I'm more than confident, not speaking for them, but I'm more than sure these individuals would like to continue. So we can reach out to them as well if you would all like. And we would just need one appointment to replace Ms. Andrea Martinez, who is a business owner. So it must be someone who's a business owner. Yes. Charter Review Commission, we just spoke about that. These are the last appointments that we have. Again, unfortunately, Ms. Sandra Rodriguez was an individual we could not get a hold of. I believe it was due to her work schedule. She works in a facility where she can't receive and send text messages or emails. So by the time that she would get out, it was well after hours. So unfortunately, it was hard to get a hold of her. And right here, these 2 individuals, they did resign. Unfortunately, Ms. Castillo is no longer with us. So we would need reappointments for that entire board as well. And then Aurora's up there. She can't do it anymore. She's sitting on the council.
I would like to resign my seat.
And then in addition to that, the last one we have is the Citizen Advisory Committee. I don't believe we've ever convened that one as well. No. Yes. Yeah, it was during COVID. It was a really bad time. We couldn't meet. Getting people on Zoom, getting people used to Zoom was really hard.
Doesn't need people on that one.
Yeah, so we would definitely need that. So if you wanna go ahead and take back your inserts, and you wanna go ahead and write down right there who you wanna appoint, bring it back the next time. So we can get the ball rolling on these board commissions.
Awesome.
Does anybody have any questions?
None.
Perfect.
Okay, hold on. Going on 8, action to consent agenda. 8A?
Motion.
Oh.
Oh, I thought you were- okay.
Approval of the June 9th, 2026 city council meeting minutes. We had it in your packet there and I'll have some time to look at it. Any questions on that, buddy? There's not any question, motion made by Ms. Garza, R. Garza, to
Second.
pass them, and seconded by Sonia Hernandez, all in favor? Aye.
Thank you.
Pass it. Yours. Hey, new business. Let's go down to the item 9A. Discuss and consider resolution number 2026-0702 on request for land use variances, special use condition from the setback requirements of chapter 48 zoning ordinance of the city of Kershaw to allow for the placement of a 18 by 76 manufactured home at the property located at 221 North Beach and R1 single and two family dwelling district, legally described as Lot 4, Block Q of the city of Kershaw, Frio County, Texas. What do you got there, Chris?
I just have one question.
Yes, ma'am.
Have they already placed it?
The last that we checked was a couple of weeks ago. They had not placed it. We told them not to place it. They did prematurely do a demo. Ghana went out there, he stopped the demo just to make sure that all the utilities were disconnected because again, gas, electrical, we don't want them to demo something with an active utility line. So we did remove the meter. They did pull a demo permit. They had the contractor pull the demo permit. But unfortunately they had already purchased the manufactured home. So they were wanting to place it. We told them we would have to wait until, council reviewed it because it is requiring 3 variances.
So no, they sent out letters, no rejections, no.
We sent out a total of 16 letters. There were no negative responses. It is a non-conforming lot. Again, per our code, you have to have 9,200 square feet for an R1. They're at 52.
No
So-
city pipes, nothing underneath that area where they're gonna place it.
No infrastructure, nothing like that. It planning and zoning did recommend approval.
Okay. So
Got
I thought allowing.
There was a previous mobile home that was there.
it.
Yeah,
Okay.
there was another mobile home that was there that they were replacing. Yes. And it is like actually,
Home manufactured.
That's what they call it, manufactured home.
Yeah, now they call them manufactured. They're still trading, but.
Yeah. There's no issue with the city, anything running under, not know there's anything running underneath it in my house.
yes, this is the mobile home that was active, that was there.
All right, motion made by Sonia Hernandez to approve, seconded by R. Garza. There you go, all in favor? Aye. Motion approved.
Okay.
You got your mobile home.
Thank you.
Little smile.
Thank you so much.
Big smile. Both two smiles, all right. Yeah. Now you got a place to live.
Thank you.
All right, let's go ahead and move on. Item 9B, discuss and consider authorizing an invitation for bids for a new water well to be located at Frio Regional Business Park, Lot 5, Block Kershaw, Texas. YPR Engineering, City Manager. Motion, what we got?
I think everybody's good with this. I think we've been working this for a while, so already with designs done, the water well behind the police department.
Get her up. Let's
Get it going and we have construction. Have construction sometimes as well.
Let's get it. Tell them to going up there. Motion made by Laura Garza, seconded by Sonia Hernandez, on favor? Aye. Dory. Okay, let's get those bids. That tower up. Get it going, the next business coming in. 9C, consideration and approval of legal service agreements to assist the city of Pearsall to participate in the national PFAS Phase 2 settlement program, review eligibility status, authorization to collect and submit required system information, and preservation of all rights available under the court-approved PFAS settlement before July 31st, 2026. Around the corner.
Yes, Mayor, on this end, we were approached by a law firm, for consideration to entertain this and move forward with this. This is some litigation that took back to, it's been going on for a while. I don't know all the history, but I do know PFAS. PFAS is their short term for forever chemicals. So what they did years back, I think they're finding some of these forever chemicals in, I think, foam that were used for, is it the fire extinguishers, things of that sort. There's other forever chemicals, but nonetheless, there's been some settlements. And so what we're trying to do here is I believe we're on a list to potentially receive some funding for these forever chemicals that were used somewhere in their area. I don't know all the details again. As far as the agreement, I believe we have that. I think the 40% of fee is assessed, assuming we collect whatever we collect from this litigation. Bobby can maybe speak a little bit more to any questions you may have regarding the agreement, but that's what we have.
So that is a 40% they, whatever, it's not costing us anything for a bunch, very much. Try to get some money.
Thanks. In the interest of full disclosure, this was brought to me. This was brought to me by my custody, Javier Villalobos, and he's one of the attorneys that are listed on the attorney fee agreement. So Javier, like me, is from Crystal City. He also happens to be the mayor of McAllen, and he's in his second term. We didn't grow up together. He's much younger than I am, but we're family. But he asked me, he contacted me a while back, just a little while back, to say, you've got some cities that I need to ask him, what cities do you represent? He says, you've got some cities that are on the list. So if this firefighting phone was sold by these major companies to certain cities throughout the country, there's a list of those cities, and you happen to be on the list. So inclusion in the class, this is a multi-district, it's an MDL litigation, a multi-district litigation. It's a national class action like you hear about, similar to, and they actually allude to in their slide deck they provided, the payout is similar to what was used in the BP litigation, that big old explosion in the Gulf way back when. So it's the same type formula, same type litigation. But essentially, this phone that's used to fight fires, you see it on TV all the time. Firefighters use your phone. The forever phone, I won't even try to figure out how to pronounce what PFAS actually stands for. Yeah, I can't read it. I can't pronounce it. But this phone, it's been determined through litigation that has occurred for years now, that it never, although it dissolves into water, it dissolves into the soil, it goes into sewers, it never actually dissolves forever. And it's been linked to cancers. So what happened is years and years ago, lawyers and I guess it would take scientists got involved as they determined that these chemicals were causing these problems. They started suing all the big major manufacturers of these products. So there was a settlement that was reached a few years ago, and the first phase of settlements involved a few $1 billion, about $3 billion, and that's over and done so. But that first phase of settlements identified very particular users of this phone. The second class of settlements is what's going on right now. The first thing I did was I looked at, wow, how come I didn't know about this? And how come TML didn't notify us about this? Because if TML had sent it out, then we'd all know, right? We got intelligence. But the last time TML wrote about this was in April of 2024. If you'll notice me, I'm not always, you see me here, sometimes it's my wife, but usually I'm doing some research. But so TML 2 years ago notified all of us that there was a settlement in the works, and that this would all occur over time. And they provided that notification. But since then, I couldn't find anything. When you put in PFAS, TML, all the stuff that comes up ends in April of 2024. So essentially, cousin calls me, says, you guys are in, but unless you file a claim by July 31st, 2026, and you file the claim correctly, then you can participate in the potential settlements. And they're dispersed based on size, population size. I think you qualify for the 10,000 world. So obviously the potential settlement value is much lower, 250,000 to what was it? Like $2 million. That's potential. But the reason why this is important is because EPA, a couple of years ago, they actually issued new rules that are requiring every single city in the country that's using these phones or that have used these phones in the past. They're requiring you to identify and then to remediate. So if there are any issues related to the use of this phone, and we've now established that you used it, you're going to have to remediate it. Might be funding available, might not be funding, but you're still going to be required to remediate. So that's what this funding is for. Potentially to use for the city for remediation purposes down the road if it's determined you have to do so. So and the reason I mentioned all this is because I wanted to find out how come we didn't know about this.
Yeah.
So last minute now, at 2 weeks before the end of the month, and they're asking you to approve something. And unfortunately, we don't have a whole lot of time, but if we don't approve something, that is either try to do this on our own, but if we mess it up, then we mess it up, we don't get to participate. So as lawyers normally do, with this MDL litigation, there's a lead law firm, Invictus, right? So, no, it's not it's another one. So there are three firms involved. So typically there's going to be a lead law firm. There's a whole bunch of lawyers that get involved nationally. And what multi-district litigation does is the judge forces a committee of lawyers to lead the group towards settlement negotiations. And typically, the judge will pick lawyers who represent the most number of plaintiffs, that is, most number of cities. So that group has been established. It's in your agreement.
Environmental Litigation Group.
Right. So that's the lead law firm out of Alabama. Then there's the next law firm, which is the Invictus law firm. So what happens is once they establish that, then everybody wants to participate in the money. But how do you get the message across in order to get clients? So the Invictus group, you've got lawyers that then said, we're going to put money together to try to do the outreach. So part of the outreach is to try to get other lawyers involved, like my cousin, to say, hey, can you round up people and get them to sign up with us so that potentially they get to participate, and obviously the lawyers are asking for 40%. And they're showing you in the agreement how they're going to divvy up that 40%. City gets 60 if any money is ever given out. Fred asked me earlier today, is there any cost to the city whatsoever, now or later? The answer is no. If you're asking, if you're wondering, hey, what does Bobby get out of this? Well, the answer is nothing other than helping my cousin out to reach out to one of my clients to potentially help one of my clients. So I know it's last minute. I had no knowledge about this, but what they're asking for is that if you decide to go forward, one is if you don't participate, you get nothing. That's a guarantee. At this point, it's kind of late in the game for us to kind of figure out how to do things correctly. But they're basically saying, hey, sign with us. You get 60% of whatever we can recover for you. Lawyers get 40. They'll split it out based on the agreement they've got in front of you. And I just wanted to put it all out there so that you don't find out about anything down the road. Like somebody says, hey, did you know that Bobby was related to that lawyer? Yeah. So I'm happy to answer any questions you might have. Like, that's it in a nutshell. Bad chemical. They said it causes cancer. They've been doing this for years and years. Now they've got $15 billion to split. But that's going to be split nationwide. So it's going to be a race to whoever we get the money, how much. And of course, the lawyers, like always, get their cut.
Any questions, Council? Council? Motion made by Art Garza. Do I second it? Seconded by Eddie Garza. Roll all in favor? Yeah, motion carries. Yeah. Okay, moving on to nine D, discuss and consider resolution number 2026-07-01, requesting financial assistance from the Texas Water Development Board, authorizing the filing of an application for assistance and making certain findings in connection therewith. Right?
Mayor and Council, this is a resolution that's required by the Texas Water Development Board for us to apply for funding. The council approved the funding, some things about this project at believe the last council meeting. All this is a resolution saying that we're moving forward. So this is 100% grant funded, and the project that we're putting in for is for replacement of water meters and also for water line that extends from refuel to HEB. That's I think we're at about $3.8 million, I believe is what we're asking.
It's 100% funded?
Yes, sir.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Motion made. Dave,
It's an application. We haven't been funded
seconded by,
yet. It's an application.
Garza, all in favor? Aye, motion carries. Okay, executive session in accordance with Texas Government Code, Chapter 551. Commissioner, this one?
Amended budget.
No, 90. I know. No, 90, sorry about that. Discuss and consider ordinance number 2026-07-01, amending the adopted budget for the fiscal year beginning October 1st, 2025. Will you, Miss Christine? here?
For tonight.
All right.
Good evening, Mayor. Good evening, Council. I will be going over a few financial items, one that will require formal appropriation, one that will require recognition, and another one that will require authorization for use of fund balance. So first, I will be going over a grant that we were awarded from the Office of the Governor for a 2026 Ford F-150 in the amount of approximately $74,000. That one will need to be formally appropriated into this fiscal year budget.
Motion to approve.
Next, I will be going over two debt issuances that have been approved in May of this year that are to be used for various capital improvement projects. The first one is Series 2026A in the amount of 10.9 million and Series 2026B for the amount of 1.28 million. They are not being appropriated within this specific budget amendment. And then lastly, we need authorization to use fund balance, about $250,000 for the utility fund for a water pump project for installation, replacement, and repair projects. This funding supports critical utility infrastructure maintenance and improvements necessary to ensure continued reliable water system operations. So the fiscal impact revenue will increase by about $74,000 from the grant that we were awarded, and then expenditures, we will use that $74,000 to purchase the vehicle, and then use the $250,000 from the fund balance.
Good, that sounds good. Motion made by Rep. R. Garza, seconded by A. Garza. All in favor? Carries. James, he's not a majority, because James, that's. Good. James, I sent out, so it's.
For the last one?
The last. Hey. Attend executive session in accordance with Texas Government Code Chapter 551. The council city clerk call at any time during the meeting, close the meeting, and go to executive session pursuant to Texas Open Meetings Act, codified in Chapter 551 Texas Government Code, which permits closed meetings pursuant to Section 551-071 for purpose of professional with attorneys. Section so. Do I have a motion to go into executive session?
Motion.
Motion gone, seconded by going down. Hey, Garson. Just a quick summary, Hector. Okay, come back. Quick summary, we'll come back. All right, let's see. Wait. Did we take that long? Okay, thank you for the.
Last executive session was great.
I had it ready, but it's not so tough.
Go back. Yes. I want to bring my square. I always like the very this time. Last time.
At a girl. I got a little bowl.
I don't know if you read it. Sorry, somebody got up there.
Thank God I got out of
I
there.
don't know if there's any left. There was a bunch earlier. And I'll even more mongers. Amen.
They're charging us. Ay, Santa María.
Sometimes it's like takes that long.
Yeah. But now it's not.
Not today. Usually when they come back, they're like, okay, they do it quick when they come back. They're ready to go. You're good to mind.
I want to raise that. Because in each judge, unless they ask me for vacancy, I can give a vacancy, but I can't really extend anything else.
And Maryland.
No, like for staff reports, like monthly.
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
And let's see.
A judge is in here, isn't he? He's on vacation. Oh, he's not a judge. Oh, okay. The judge. To give his report, yeah, because I was like.
We're hereditary, sure.
I support her. Not my. My lady say.
Oh, yeah?
Doesn't fit her anymore. I'll call it weight, so now it's still fit me.
All right. Free advertising.
Right.
Yes.
You only take your decision.
I know. Okay. I was like, man.